everyone, it's Spooky, and over the past week and a half, I've been seeing quite a lot of discourse over the new Stadium competitive changes, especially to the best of 5 format. And you may have noticed I've been pretty silent over the topic on my YouTube because I wanted to really organize my thoughts over it before I put my opinion out there and give myself a little time before forming a full take. And I have to say, after playing it for a solid amount of time, it sucks, at least for what it's supposed to be. So let me break down what the pros and cons of the best of 5 format are and what I think competitive Stadium should look like. All right, so let's start off on a positive note. What works about best of 5? First off, I've been hearing from a lot of support players that the queue times from Stadium in the past have turned a lot of them away. With anywhere between 6 to 30-minute queues to play Stadium, it had a lot of players choosing to spend their time elsewhere. Now, this isn't a new problem for Overwatch. We've had problems with time spent in queue for years. For a while, it was DPS, and most recently, it's been supports. I don't think there's ever been a time where the tank role was too popular, so sorry tank players. Stadium faced the same problem, and surprisingly, the best of 5 format actually significantly reduced the wait time for support players. I've been told by several people who solo queue that they've been waiting much less to get a game, and I will say that is a huge win for a large chunk of the player base. Next, which is what I think the Stadium team was ultimately aiming for, was that the builds come online a lot quicker. This obviously makes it so players can enjoy some wackier builds without having to grind through 5 rounds of Stadium to get there. Although this is great, it still bugs me because that's what quick play is for. And players locking competitive are mostly looking for a different experience than quick play. The introduction of quick play was great because you could try out new builds and strategies in a different format without feeling like you're throwing the game in the name of experimenting. It was fast, casual, and just the right amount of time for a taste of what the full Stadium experience was. But for some reason, we now have 2 ways to play quick play. Some people are saying that it's more fun to get a new power each round, and I would agree that it does make it more interesting and feels less, fluffed, I guess is the word I'd use for that. If something isn't working round 1, you know that you'll be able to change your build completely without having to go through another item round to get there, excluding round 4, of course. I would also say that although fun is an important metric, competitiveness in a competitive format is also important. And I feel like they've sacrificed a lot of the competitive nature of the game to make it more fun. The shorter matches give less nuance to the games and make it feel like a lot of the matches are decided before really even getting started. This leads me to my next point, which is the problem with credit scaling and items. Although we get powers faster in this new competitive quick play, we also lose a lot of the early to mid game development and less scaled fights that were honestly some of my favorite in the game. Those awkward rounds where everyone was still developing their builds with green and blue items, but it was still a noticeably different game, creating different kinds of skill to be showcased. Now it feels like whomever has the most broken build by round 2 to 3 is going to run the lobby no matter what. And a lot of time, it's whichever hero can scale their credits the quickest. I've been noticing a much wider disparity of credits, especially in the early rounds, which create moments for players who get a head start on credits to scale their builds way too quickly and creates kind of a runaway scaling, as I call it. Although we have the bounty system, with shorter rounds, it leaves less opportunities to counterplay and can lead to matches feeling completely out of your hands. Now, on to what I would like to see from Stadium going forward. First, I've been saying this from the beginning, we need to make competitive Stadium actually more competitive. This game is all over the place as far as ranks and MMR matchups go, and it seems like we're neglecting a core audience of Overwatch players. Overwatch is a competitive game at its core, and Stadium needs to reflect that as well. Currently, this is what it feels like the dev team is trying to do. They're saying, we want you to play Stadium for a really long time, so we're going to make it so everyone feels like they're ranking up in our competitive mode. Some people will take longer than others, but everyone will make it to Legend eventually if they play long enough. Oh, and as far as those Stadium competitive ranks go, yeah, they're meaningless. We don't balance matches on Stadium ranks at all, because if we did that, people wouldn't be able to consistently climb, and that would make them stop playing. So instead, we'll balance matches on a wide MMR, or matchmaking rank, So it feels somewhat competitive, and the games are absolute stomps, even though this is exactly how quick play matches are formed. So it really is the same mode as quick play. Now, I've been playing Overwatch for 9 years, and I can tell you this is probably at least 90% accurate to what is going on in Stadium Competitive right now. And honestly, I would love to hear from the Stadium team so they can clearly tell us what Stadium Competitive is right now, because it feels like we're being farmed for user activity. And as much as I know that that's the business, Stadium will never become what it could be while there is a foundation of deception. The Stadium team has done so much amazing work to bring us, in my opinion, the future of Overwatch. And I am extremely grateful to be passionate about this game again after years of not. And it's all thanks to them. With that passion comes a desire to see this game be successful. And I truly believe that it can be with the right changes. Now, I don't know everything, but I am extremely confident that creating a truly competitive system would set this mode up for long-term success. Now, what would that look like? Now, I'm no dev, but I'd love to see either a mirror of Normal Watch's system for competitive with a similar bell curve distribution. Now, I know this would probably increase queue times, but I think we could get over wider MMR matches if the matches were at least based somewhat on your stadium rank. Another option, which I think would be meeting them in the middle, is to keep the same progression system, but once you hit All-Star, it turns into a leaderboard with matches based on your actual stadium rank. You can make it so it's much quicker to reach All-Star, so we can populate the pool quicker. But once you're there, it becomes an actual fight to reach the top spot. I'm sure there are some problems with the system, but at the very least, it will feel like our time is being respected as competitive players, and you can still farm playtime off people just wanting to make it to All-Star. Anyways, that's my rant for today. I would love to hear what you all think so we can work together to make Stadium an even better game mode. Remember, if you want to see change, then be loud and clear about what it is you want to see change and speak about it often. And be ready to work with people that have different opinions to find a solution. But I think we can agree, and this is a side note, the new Stadium UI is completely unnecessary and super confusing. Just add another tab for gadgets, make the filter function much less intrusive because no one is using that in the few seconds they have between rounds, and it just gets in the way. Maybe make it a Stadium training ground function only for people working on their builds. That might be a nice little middle ground there as well. All right, for real, I'm done now. Thanks for watching. Thanks to the Stadium dev team for working to make this game great every single day. I'll see you guys in the next Stadium video. Peace.